late and exhausted from a meeting that had run over. The whole week had been like that, grabbing meals at different times, tension from work stalking them home, falling into bed too late and too shattered to talk. She's pleased to have this weekend, just to slow down. Ahead, the rocks where Jackson will be fishing come into focus. Huge, somber boulders stretch right out into the sea. She wonders if he's caught anything yet. It wasn't long past dawn when she'd felt the give of the bed as Jackson slipped out from under the covers. She'd heard him stepping into his jeans, pulling on a sweater, and zipping up his coat. He'd leaned over the bed and pressed a kiss on her bare shoulder. Her eyes had opened just enough to see him disappear through the doorway, a red woolen hat pulled down over his ears. Just beyond the rocks, she sees a flash of a boat. It disappears momentarily into a trough, and she thinks the conditions are too rough to be out on the water today. She squints against the wind and sees it rise again on the crest of a wave, an orange lifeboat. She wonders whether there's been an accident, and as soon as she has this thought, a slow trickle of unease seeps through her body. In her childhood summers, when her father was still alive, they would come to this beach every morning to swim together, her father making lunging rotations with his long, bony arms in a backstroke. She had loved those swims when the water was calm and the early sun glanced off the surface. But today, the sea is something darker, forbidding. She scans the rocks for Jackson, eyes watering in the wind. He must be here. It's the spot he always fishes when they're visiting her mother. But now all that breaks the grey wash of sea and sky is the lifeboat. Even as she tells herself that the lifeboat could be on a training mission, her knees are bending, carrying her forward into a run. The flask bounces against her hip and her boots flick up sand. Her breath comes to warm, quick clouds and she feels restricted by the layers of her clothes, her jeans unyielding against her knees, her coat buttons tight against her breastbone. When she reaches the base of the rocky outcrop, she finds a dozen or so people gathered there. Her gaze moves over them and then travels up the length of the rocks, where waves charge, tossing white water high into the bruised sky. The air is heavy with the smell of salt. She can't see Jackson. Eva hurries toward a man zipped into a waxed jacket, his steel grey eyebrows ruffled by the wind. "Why is the lifeboat out?" she asks, trying to keep the panic from her voice.
"Someone was swept off the rocks."
Her heart lurches. "Who?"
"A fisherman, they think."
For a moment, she has a feeling of relief, because she knows her husband is not a fisherman. He's a 30-year-old brand marketer for a drinks company. But then the man is saying,
"Young, apparently, but maybe he'll stand more of a chance against the cold."
Eva feels all the air leave her lungs, as if someone has grabbed her hard around the ribs. She drops the flask and yanks her cell from her pocket, ripping off her gloves to dial. Her fingers are clumsy with the cold, but she turns her back to the wind and keys in Jackson's number. Pressing the phone to her ear, she paces on the spot, waiting for him to pick up.
"Hi, this is Jackson,"
his voicemail says, and her heart stalls. Dropping the phone into her pocket, she stumbles toward the rocks. A wide red sign reads, "Danger, keep off." Her scarf flies behind her as she clambers over the wet boulders, the cry of wind filling her ears. Her breath is ragged, and spiked thoughts pierce at her, making her mind whirl. She tells herself to focus only on where she is putting each foot, placing one carefully in front of the other. Ahead, something colourful catches her attention. She picks her way over barnacle-lined rocks until she is close enough to see it. A green plastic tackle box lies open, wedged between two rocks. She recognizes it instantly. She'd bought it for Jackson last Christmas to house the lures and weights that were gradually filling up his bedside drawer. Now salt water fills the trays, so that two bright blue lures float inside like dead fish. There is a loud, shattering boom as a wave smashes into the jetty. Icy spray splashes the side of Eva's face.